Hello and welcome to round two with Daryl Feltner's Blue-White Tron. Snap Keith says gifts and we're on the play, even though it doesn't have the interaction. We also have two Tron pieces, which is kind of like a scary start. I will note that you'll notice there's not a lot of things that you do if you turn three Tron in this deck. That again, it's a gifts on given deck, so that's by design, not by accident. You just kind of, if turn three Tron is not as good as turn five Tron in this deck. Trying to figure out what stacks I can get here that are great. The other thing is we have to figure out if our opponent is... Well, I'm just going to curve to Tron now. I don't see a reason. I can adjust plan if my opponent plays a card that I'm going to need to verdict. We have to figure out if our opponent is Storm or if they're Grixis controlled, because that drastically changes what our gifts does. And by Grixis control, I mean any of the fair blue decks, and Storm, I mean any of the unfair ones. They could be Storm, they could be like a Through the Breach deck, Hive Mind, all these like 8 million different blue-red combo decks. Or they could be just, good old Grixis control. Well, that card is a genuine reason to adjust plans to casting Supreme Verdict. That card does not do anything. So I'm going to... We're in a bit of a tough spot because of what that implies in terms of how the rest of the game plays out. If we don't draw a white source, that gets real bad real fast. Mostly because Gifts Ungiven is so vulnerable to opposing remands. And usually that's what comes alongside this card. Also, they have full info for Gifts right now because of the Cataxian Probe, which is real problematic for us. I was hoping to try to set up a situation where I could gifts for good value that included another white source, potentially get somewhere. Not really sure because the second white source is pretty telling. The fact that there's 4 bolts going right in my face is very scary. Trying to think through what my gifts options here are. So I'm going to Tron up on 5. Sorry, 5. Yeah, my opponent probably has a counterspell based on not fetching on end step. They're just leaving up 2 mana, so gifts doesn't stick. 9's a really awkward amount because it's not Ulamog or Slaver. Well, I'm going to cast gifts and see what happens, and then I can figure out what I'm doing. Not dead to bolt, but dead to bolt snap, which is not where you want to be. Let's lead on this, I guess. Looking to draw a path to exile. That was a huge mistake. I should have just Troned up and done that instead of playing for like drawing a specific land. I was thinking maybe I'd want to draw another Celestial and then play it, but well. And also now I can't EOT gifts. Yeah, that was terrible. I should have set up to go Thirst into gifts and not get my stuff countered. This one's on me for losing. Well, yes, I would. Yes, I would like to cast that. And now my goal is just to stick this gifts for just cards. Yeah, probably dead here then. Not dead. Let's try and figure out. Opponent probably doesn't have a Snapcaster Mage. I could have a Resto. What do I get that beats that? I can get Thopter Sword, Crucible Runes. Then I get Crucible Runes and I die to it. So I need something faster than that. Yeah, Academy Runes is not going to do it here. I think I want to get Thirst. Gifts. I don't want to get Ulamog, do I? And it lets me draw land to do it. So I'm trying to figure out what the right cards to get here are to not die to the most things. I think it might just be Thirst, Gifts, Ulamog, and I don't think Minesleeper. Path. That's what it was. I think that looks right. So I don't have the time to mess around with any of these longer combos. Yeah, gifting for gifts is just a powerful play that people don't talk about enough. Um, but it kind of represents like this chain that your opponent has to do something about. Like usually you don't get gifts for gifts. Also worth noting, this is like the exact spot where Tron starts becoming actually good. This turn 5-6 situation where you start pumping gifts into gifts. Okay, so my opponent doesn't really have anything. That's a good sign. If they had something, let's not get our gifts countered by a mana leak. I'm okay leading on this. Okay. I'm one short now? That's sad. Well, I know my opponent has nothing and I have interaction. So I'm supposed to stick that here for sure. The question is, where do I go from here now? I could gifts again, but I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to unburial. I think that giving my opponent 2 draw steps is fine, though. Crucible, runes. So I can't get runes, so I'm going to get sword, crucible. My opponent's at 10, though. I can't kill him one attack, though. Oh, can I? I can put them to 2. I can't get Elish into play and attack with this is the problem. So let's just go Thopter, Crucible, Academy Runes. Oh, that might be why there's an Emrakul. You can gifts for straight up Emrakul in certain weird late game spots to reshuffle cards if you need to do that. With these gifts change, it might be relevant. Yeah, my opponent figured it out. I don't think there's Mantis Rider, I guess. But this also threatens to not let my opponent crack a fetch. Because, hear me out, this is an equipment. This is 9. Oh, wow. Yeah, my opponent just put themselves to dead on board to me top decking a white source. I don't think they realized it. And I don't have a white source in graveyard, do I? That's great. Well, bottom and top. Probably another visions based on how long they took to do that. Planes. Land, you can pick up the sword. That is Serum Vision's the top. No thanks. You don't have another turn. I'm just gonna board in another one of this card because it's great. Mm, that's debatable. I don't mind like one of those here. I don't want to get too deep on Dispel because I don't want to go too far down that road of fighting that. Iona's just terrible here. I'm going to take out this Emrakul again. Spell Snare's great. Remand's okay. Might want to board out a Sweeper even though there's Young Pyro just because the card is so bad against like Restoration Angel and the other half of my opponent's deck. Yeah, we can board out a Remand for Dispel actually. Let's actually just do that. It's more of a fight, like a negate and a dispel. I can tutor for a bunch of counters now. We'll try this. I don't know if I'm supposed to have more than one timely, but it's only really good against Pyro of the typical blue aggressive, like the threats out of those decks. My opponent's 3 color enough that I doubt there's a Blood Moon involved, so I don't need to worry about disenchant. This is not a hand. That's a fine hand, I guess. Definitely getting a blue source with map. The question is, do I want gifts? I think I'd rather draw uh, a blue source naturally so I can set up for Thirst better, or just Spell Snare something early. That's a sad blue source to draw. Hooray! Delver's on fun for me mode. Uh, yeah, let's do this. I'm going to play the slow game to try and trade Spell Snare for a Mana Leak, as my opponent doesn't appear to have a, sure, Young Pyro to trade it for. No! It was on fun for me mode, not fun for you mode. Delver Secret's really just like, I don't know. That card. Trying to figure out what the end sequence is here for next turn. Probably just pass. And then I get to Tron up and do whatever I want after that. I guess I also get to hit Snapcaster with that. Okay, so we have Troned up for the second time this match, and this is really where, you know, if there's any matchup I want to Tron up, it is the blue mirror match, because mana is just so important in these. Kind of like leading on that just to see what's up. And then I can Signet into Thirst, depending. And 7's like a pretty safe life total, I think. Takes like 3 burn spells to kill from 7 usually. Yeah, that's a fine target for Spell Snare. Okay, so Stony Silence is kind of obnoxious. Pyro, I'm not too afraid of at this stage in the game. I think the pick is Snap or Bolt, and I don't know which one. Probably Bolt. Just like the default good one. We're only going to play one because if we get Stonied next turn, I'd rather be able to discard the other. And we have enough mana that I can afford to pay the one. You know, it costs two to play, but it makes one. So I can pay the one to filter into blue, fine. So we've got Snap, Leak, Pyro, Stony. Okay. So I'm gonna leave a white floating and thirst before doing anything else. Yeah. That's not what I wanted. Oh, no, I can't go back? I clicked that without thinking. I needed to leave up Celestial. Wow, that was very bad. Uh, the fact that you can't cancel the discard an artifact thing is weird. I'll have to submit a UI bug on that one. Actually put in the time for that because they actually like. I feel like that's the kind of thing that they'll listen to. You know, like this UI is not intuitive. Please fix. 4 significantly less safe. Virtual 1. Don't know why that showed the Thirst for Knowledge art, but sure. You do you. Okay. That doesn't work at all, does it? That's what I get for not thinking. I was really excited. I was really excited. The other alternative is going to Dead to Snapcaster Mage. Oh no, I could have Ghost Quartered my own land to take myself off of Tron to make the white to survive. That was an unfortunate series of setups and draws there. This doesn't help because it doesn't beat Stony. Do I have a way to take a Stony Silence off the board in my deck right now? No. It might be good to have access to one. Let's go up to another negate instead of remand. Just fight that way. I don't need to do that, but I guess this is pretty useful. Not super high on spells. On the play, I'm less excited about it. I liked it on the draw as a way to stop a turn 2 Pyro. Go quarter myself off Tron for a turn to block. I guess I then re-Tron the next turn. So if I played that right there, I think I was okay. By okay, I mean I still had a draw step. Maybe? Yeah. This looks fine. By fine, I mean turn 3, turn 4, Seer might just kill our opponent because they're all lightning bolts. Another good spot for Talisman, though. I think the Signet, if you're going to play Celestial, is just significantly better. This is like the best card in this matchup for us, by the way. The Delver decks always have issues with spot removal. The Signet immediately activating Celestial off colorless is really important, as opposed to Talisman, which would just be significantly worse in this role. Like, you take a pain and have to have another colored mana. Just not really how that works. Not super excited to run this into 2 open mana. So, I kinda... Let's just do this. If this eats a mana leak, I'm super happy. And I like the pseudo signaling of like playing it before my land drop, so that if it gets mana leaked, I can't pay, and it kind of implies, yeah, okay, that's fine, perfect. I traded that for a mana leak, and I'm gonna play that. I don't really care about exposing it to any kind of interaction with this hand. I just would like it in play. And if my opponent plays Stony, I still get to make a Thopter, so that's life. I probably make the Thopter with the Signet and leave that in play against Stony. Stony Silence is kind of obnoxious for this deck to the point that I'm not super happy playing against it. Okay, sure. That's really good for me because it implies that my Thought Knot is just free to fly, which is really huge. Oh. Well, yeah, I don't really care about Spell Snare. And your hand is garbage. It was what? Island, Mountain, Two Strand. Well, that makes their hand a little better. They had Snare as their last card. And they just shuffled away the other card that they kept with. That's weird. So they kept both with Visions, then fetched. Huh. Probably kept like a Mana Leak or something, and now they're behind on board. Yeah, I'll just race here all day long. I guess, I should have pathed on end step because I know my opponent's flooded. And, like, just getting the Snapcaster out of the way is just significantly better. No, no, no. No, that's okay. So, this is the greedy way to do it, but I'm okay with that. This way it loses to a top, well, not loses, but uh, has its line forced by a top deck Mana Leak. But I think that, like, some other random spell, like a top deck Mana Leak, my opponent's still at 4 facing down double Thought Knot, um, which is not a good spot for them. And if my opponent opts to instead, like if they drew like, I don't know, just like a path or something instead, I'd rather have the play made that puts me as far ahead on board as possible, where I actually get to start generating land drops every turn by ghost quartering my own lands, um, which gets me to this attacking. Anyways, yeah, not bad. The ghost quarter interaction with this was not something I realized until now, and that's pretty cute. This card's just absurd. It's just really, really good, and has unshockingly, at least to me, been the best card of my deck. You're really just a Thought Knot Gifts deck that happens to make Tron sometimes.